Hello and welcome back everyone. I hope you had plenty of time to relax, enjoy and celebrate the holidays, but now that that's over, you should be feeling rejuvenated to get back to business again and get on track with your investments and goals. I personally just finished reviewing my 2021 portfolio and its performance, and this is what I would like to show you today in this video. Now, I am not comfortable enough to talk specific numbers of how much I made or how much I have invested because I'm not yet comfortable with YouTube to that extent. But nevertheless, I would like to share with you the data in percentages, which I think will be helpful to you nonetheless. Firstly, we will review the breakdown of my net worth, meaning how much do I have invested in stocks, how much is in my primary residence, how much is in my cars, business interest, etc. So you can have a rough idea of how I've structured my finances. After that, we will go into my stock portfolio itself and we will discuss just roughly how much I have invested in ETFs, how much in blue chip stocks, and how much I have in other medium to short term stock positions. Then we will look at the performance that I had during the year, and I will discuss as well what kind of changes I'm looking to make in 2022 and what kind of returns I hope to achieve with those changes. So that's what we have in store for today's video. If that sounds interesting to you, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe because I have plenty more where that came from. Let's begin. Okay, starting with the breakdown of my net worth. So here it is. I have about 73% of my net worth in stocks, ETFs, and other market-based positions. I also have about 7% of investments in real estate. About 4.5% of my net worth is my primary residence, so here, the place where I live. Another 4% are my crypto holdings, and I have about 3% in vehicles and cars because I myself am sort of an automotive enthusiast. I have a few cars, and despite having a few, they are again not more than 3% of my net worth. And I also have 1% in other things like small business interests, some other assets that I own. And to top it all off, I also have currently about 7% of my net worth in cash, which personally I feel is a bit high, and I will be looking to invest that cash throughout the year. So there you have it. The majority of my net worth is in stocks, ETFs, and other market-based products. Now, that to some people is seen as highly risky, but I myself have grown accustomed to it and I'm quite comfortable having that large percentage. And honestly, I would probably look to increase that with time as well. So you can see the point of this video is not for me to show off or flex. I am trying to explain to you that I put my money where my mouth is. The things that I talk about here, the things that I try to explain, I do myself personally. And they're a big part of my life, and I know at least to some extent what I'm talking about because I am practicing what I preach. Okay, so moving on to step 2. Taking a look at that big chunk of 73% of my net worth, what is it made of? To put it simply, I will not go into too much detail because that can be a separate video in and of itself, but I have about 35% of that sum in ETFs and 46% of that sum into large cap blue chip stocks. And the remaining 18% is more short term to medium term speculative positions, which I hope to sell and to then convert into more ETFs or blue chip stocks, which I plan to hold on to the long term, which is 20 plus years. Now that piece of 46% was initially much smaller, but over time I let my winners run. So therefore stocks which grew a lot, I did not trim that positions to keep a balanced portfolio. Instead, I let it grow. And for example, positions like my Google position right now is up almost 120%. And I have others which have grown quite a lot in a similar fashion as well. And I have decided not to sell any of those, but to just let them run. Nonetheless, in 2022, I hope to quite significantly increase the percentage of ETFs that I hold, because I feel I have maybe leaned a bit too much into the individual stock side of things, where I should have been focused more on ETFs and just to keep it simple, to keep it minimal, and not to try to pick stocks too much, because I can see now that this strategy, well, a lot of people say it, but of course, when you do it yourself, you have to experience it to believe it. ETFs and just keeping it simple is a much more easy and profitable strategy over the long term, and I can see that now, because some of my positions, like my Alibaba stock, oh my god, that has done really poorly in 2021. Obviously, I learned my lesson. Picking stocks, just even the professionals are not good at it. So just stick with the whole market, and that's what I plan to do as well myself. I will not trim my blue chips, but I will convert some of the smaller stock holdings that I have in my short to medium term portfolio. I will convert those into ETFs, so that I hope I will have maybe about 50 to 60% of ETFs by the end of 2022. Okay, and now the big question. How did my portfolio perform in 2021? Now, initially I had a target goal of 15% return for this year, and I am happy to report that I beat that goal by quite a bit. Now, my stock portfolio returned 23.5% instead of the targeted 15%, which obviously I am very happy with. And also my small crypto portfolio did quite well as well. And that brings my total to about 26% for the year. And the caveat is that 26% is actually the performance of the S&P 500. So despite picking individual stocks, despite having crypto, I still just matched the index. That is why ETFs are better. Now for 2022, my expectations are actually a bit lower, so I will keep that 15% target, and hopefully I will still beat it. But my expectation is that we will probably see less performance in the coming year than we did this year. Nevertheless, whatever comes is welcome. So what's the plan for me for 2022? First things first, I will reduce my cash pile, meaning I will invest a bit more into crypto, into stocks and ETFs. And in the portfolios themselves, I plan to expand my crypto portfolio to at least double what it is. Currently it's 4%. I'm looking forward to something along the lines of 8%. And also, as I mentioned before, I will be moving my stock portfolio more from individual stocks towards ETFs and index funds. So the whole strategy for 2022 for me is to take a bit more of a minimalist approach. I want to minimize my holdings, to consolidate and to focus on the winners, and just to keep it simple and not overcomplicate a process which is already in itself a bit complicated. Anyway, I do these breakdowns of my portfolio and performance every year now, and it has really helped me to keep myself focused on what's important, and to not only have goals, but to track them very methodically and very specifically. Because in the world of finance, everything is numbers and percentages, and tracking that is really easy. All right, that's it for this video. It's fairly simple. I hope it has been useful and insightful for you. And I really hope it inspires you to do something similar for yourself as well, because I really believe that will help you skyrocket you towards your financial goals. Thank you so much for watching. Again, a reminder for a like and a subscribe, really appreciate it. And I'll see you next video. Thank you.